Welcome back and thanks for joining me for part 2 of the ride to Moab. We left off part 1 a few hours into our ride through Lockhart basin. The desert was beginning to take its toll on our bikes and our bodies. The harsh landscape irritated old injuries and caused new ones. Despite all the discomfort though, our spirits couldn't be higher. As the day continued, we began to cherish those brief moments where the sand flattened out and the rocks receded into the earth, revealing what felt like a wormhole through the desert. For a brief moment, you could twist the throttle to a stop and just enjoy the fresh air. Although those moments always felt like they were cut short, sometimes you need a reminder to slow down and take in the scenery. A great part of off-road exploration is knowing that you are one of the relatively few human beings on this planet who will ever experience this place. We pushed on, and just when we thought we were settled into the pace of the trail, the desert threw us a curveball. The final descent out of Lockhart Basin to Chicken Corners was more backbreaking than any of us had expected. The last canyon out of Lockhart Basin challenged us all. It was one of those experiences you look back on after a trip is over and think of it fondly, but while we were in it, we felt as if it was the desert's last attempt to trap us there forever. We spent hours building ramps out of boulders to get the support truck through. The only reward for completing each obstacle was to hike back up to the bikes and ride them down to the next choke point where the labor would begin again. It was hard work, but we were all determined to overcome the desert's last trial. Slowly, the narrow canyon walls released us from their grip and gave way to an oasis in the valley. The greenery lining the river stood in stark contrast to the Martian landscape that we'd spent the better part of a day in. Although Hurrah Pass still stood between us and our destination, we knew the hardest part was over. There was a great sense of accomplishment in the group and a renewed energy to finish the last part of the trail into Moab. As we began our final ascent up Hurrah Pass, the scenery was nothing short of spectacular. The cliffside walls seemed to come alive with hundreds of desert rock monoliths standing in formation guarding the mountain. We were beginning to see other vehicles now and knew we must be getting close. It almost felt like a race to the top at this point, expecting to see the peak around every turn. As I crested the pass, the breath was drawn from my lungs in a simultaneous cheer and sigh of relief. We took the opportunity to air up our tires, snapped a couple pictures, and headed down to Moab. It was only about 20 minutes to the campsite in town, and we were all ready to grab a meal and rest for the night. I want to thank you all for watching today, and I hope you'll join me for the Ride to Moab Part 3 as we take on the scenic White Rim Trail. I especially want to thank Tyler over at the Everide channel for promoting my last video, as I'm sure most of you wouldn't be here watching if not for him. If by some chance you're here and you've never watched his videos, I'll link one of my favorites in the description. If you have any feedback for what kinds of videos you'd like to see in the future, please let me know in the comments below. I still have my Colorado footage waiting to be edited, but I do have another week-long trip coming up in August, and the destination is yet to be determined. Hopefully I can get part 3 out the next week or so, because I'm really excited to show you my ride around the Alpine Loop area in Colorado. Until next time, steady stare out.